Family, it is Family Friday, but as you know, it's also Fabulous Friday. And
Yeah.
the idea is to make it what you want it to be. So this morning, it's Fabulous Friday, and I hope everyone is having a great start to their Friday. It's the end of the week, and we're here to give you a start to your day. So if it wasn't how you want it, we are appreciating the fact that you're allowing us in your space to try and make it better. And if it has been good, hopefully being a part of our space and our conversation will improve that. How are you, Mikey G?
Coraleekaren, as you say, it's Fabulous Friday. Not only because it's just Friday, but I'm seeing you this morning. You're on the breakfast hour with me this morning, so it's even more fabulous than usual. So yes, for that one reason, even more so, and so much has been happening around us, and it interests me to see the mechanism that takes us through one day to another, and how things can go south. I had a very interesting experience even yesterday, which I won't be sharing actually, but just
That's not fair. That's not fair.
I know people like the scoop, but this one I have to keep it a little bit until after the fact. I can talk about it, but when it started
first.
yes, I will talk about it, but it is at a point where it is like saying, what the legal terms are. At this point, you say something, it might be interfere with the case at hand. Not necessarily it could be interfere with the case at hand, or influencing the case, or that kind of thing. Anyways, so I had that something to deal with yesterday, and I was thinking about it, and I said to myself, interesting how life, sometimes you start out a day and you think that all is going to be all the way you think it's going to work, but something else just turn up and just do something different. So, well, whatever that is, it's life is lifing. That's what I would say about that.
Totally agree. There is no way to predict how the day will unfold, but importantly, is to have a mindset that will allow you to face and embrace whatever comes your way. And that's why it's important to start it with a positive outlook, because there are going to be positive moments, but there are also going to be some not so positive moments.
So positive.
But hopefully the mindset is what is going to help us to go through whatever challenges we've come upon. What's on your mind?
Whatever we face today, I'm telling you, it will be fine. If we believe one thing only. My experience this morning is that when I wake up, I had my first miracle of just waking up.
Absolutely.
And so, of course, we're going to go for a devotional. Of course, if you're just joining us for the first time, we want to welcome you, and of course, like, share, subscribe to this channel, and of course, not to the channel, but to our platform, to our station, Flashpoint Media. .ky is on the internet, but if you're in the Cayman Islands, you can go on down to Westby Road and enjoy sitting in the studio and just do a few things with us. Our web radio continues all day on www.flashpointmedia.ky. Go ahead and switch on right now. If you did not hit the notification bell, do it now. Every time you do that, it makes certain that whenever one of these programs comes up, you get it first. Alright, our devotional comes up next by Lady Susan Long, brought to us by M&M Construction for all your construction needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands.
Looking to build your dream home or renovate your space? M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345-927-7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345-927-7509.
Good morning. This is day 22. Reject profane and old wives' fables and exercise yourself toward godliness. 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 7. Keep the goal in view. Written by Herb Vander Lugt. Bible scholar William Barclay tells of his walks through the meadow with his bull terrier, Rusty. Whenever his dog came to a shallow creek, he jumped in and started removing stones one by one, dropping them haphazardly on the shore. This pointless activity would go on for hours. Barclay says that Rusty's strange behavior reminds him of some self-proclaimed experts on the Bible. They expend enormous energy and countless hours trying to interpret obscure passages, but all their effort does nothing to edify themselves or others. Through the years, I have received long letters from people speaking about their claim to have found the key to certain Bible mysteries by studying the meaning of names in the lists of genealogies. Apparently, there were some teachers in Ephesus who were trying to impress the believers by weaving myths and fables into their interpretation of the Bible. But what they taught did nothing to promote godliness. It was therefore as pointless as Rusty's stone removal project. Paul said to Timothy, "Exercise yourself toward godliness." That's the most important goal to keep in view as we study the Bible. Our prayer should be that God will grant us grace to read and mark His holy word, so that its truths with meekness we will receive and live by its holy precepts. Our quote this morning reads, "Don't study the Bible to be able to quote it. Study it to obey it." End quote.
I'm Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine. Your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coraleekaren, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
Of course, welcome back. Coraleekaren, what do we have on the agenda for today, though? What do we have today?
It's always interesting, certainly for me, to hear the days that are celebrated.
Yes, listen. I don't know who comes up with these days and why and the celebration for them, but it fascinates me too.
It is absolutely fascinating. So on the 22nd of August, a lot is celebrated. Be an Angel Day, Daffodil Day, National Eat a Peach Day, National Pecan Torch Day, National Tooth Fairy Day. The interesting one I found was Take Your Cat to the Vet Day. And I was like, what? World Plant Milk Day and Southern Hemisphere Hoodie Hoo Day. I have no idea what that is, but it's certainly worth deep diving in, maybe one or two of them. Be an Angel Day, also known as National Be an Angel Day, is observed annually, and angels are thought of as being supernatural spirits or beings that can protect humans. On Being Angel Day, humans play the role of protector or helper for fellow humans. The day was founded by Reverend Jane Howard Fieldman as a day to do small acts of service for someone and be a blessing in their life. Reverend, it is a day to selflessly do random acts of kindness and to help others in need.
Reverend Jane or John?
It says, well, it's pronounced Jayne, but the fact, well, Howard to me, and I think that's where you're going, is what confirms the sex. So it would be male.
Jane.
Or unless I'm pronouncing it
wrong. No, it's okay. I am always, you know me and the female pastor elders. The reverends who are supposed to be male but then turn out to be females, like priests who are men, and then there are nuns who are priests, sort of thing. Go ahead, I leave it there. It's always it is something that I can't see it anywhere. It's like women who are fathers. It's like no. It is like women who are fathers and women who are and men who are mothers. That kind of it just sound like that to me all the time.
Yeah, those are the things that trigger you. It's okay.
It's not triggered, but it's confusing.
You triggered, Michael. You're triggered.
Okay, that's the word you choose. Don't it confuse you to see if somebody if your mother came up and say and somebody say to your mother when you went home sometimes says Daddy to your mother, wouldn't you feel wonder what's going on?
I don't. Well, that would not happen though.
No, but I'm saying just for argument's sake. Suppose you went home and your children says, "Grandpa," to your mother. What would that do to you?
It wouldn't happen.
But what would it do to you if that happened?
But that's a contradiction. It's almost turning the thing on its head.
That's what I'm saying. So when you say pastor and I see a woman there, I'm like, what the hell is happening? That kind of thing. Our bishop or priest, and I see a lady standing in the pulpit, or standing there saying, that's a priest right there. I'm like, oh my God. It's like turning it on the head. That's what I was saying. Anyway, next day if you have another day.
Though is to encourage us to be kind.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to destroy the Angels Day thing, but it catches me when it was, Yeah,
it's all right. We understand. But
I'm happy that you said you understand. That what I was saying was when you talk about your mother being grandfather, it turns it on the head. I hope you understand what I said.
I did. I also understand you.
Very good.
In that regard.
Thank you.
So you were very clear that those are some. You don't like the word trigger, but those are some issues that.
No. I think the word is a word that we want to choose to say that it is something that does this. But every time you see a problem, it's like if you see somebody working a mathematical problem, and every time you see they put 2 plus 2, it is 22. Yeah, are you going to say, how did you get 22 and it's 2 plus 2? Every time you put 22 there because they see 22, and you see it every time. But then they're saying, they see 22 every time, but you see 2 plus 2 equal 4. And you say, but it is 4, it is not 22.
Got you.
So is that triggering you? Is that triggering for you to notice that it's not all wrong?
What gesture will you do today, Mikey G, to be an angel?
Alright, my name to be an angel today is simply to be the best version of myself that is not necessarily always at the front, and so I'm trying to be that. And so
what? I will say that by virtue of our being here and helping persons who are getting ready or already on their way to have a good start to the morning, that's something, don't you think?
It is. I think just by being here this morning, I think some people I'm saying some stuff, and when I say things sometimes it like you say triggers. That's the word you're going to use next, but
Well, I tell you what, it's good to have conversations because the beauty about being human is that we're individuals and there are certain things that you like, I don't like.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
once we
yeah.
come together in a space where we can have dialogue, we can share, that's where camaraderie is built, that's where friendships are formed. And I believe it's healthy.
Yeah.
It's healthy for, so as I said, I understand what are some of Mikey G's concern. I don't say I know
My
all about
concerns,
Mikey G,
yeah,
but
my concerns
I
might seem not
appreciate,
so concerning now, but
yeah,
later
I
on,
appreciate some of the things that you
yeah,
do. And so
yeah.
it's having that awareness and being in the same space and allowing the dialogue to flow is absolutely,
We are
I
triggering.
mean,
What we are doing, we are actually pinpointing where the conversations needs to be, and when we are having them, they will know that there is not a silence on the matter or these matters. It's like
yeah,
let's look across Jamaica. Just recently, we are looking at elections, and now we are
yeah,
looking at elections. Election starts now, and so much is going on. As I was, we are having a little conversation, and I'm seeing the election going on, and the JLP has gotten 2 terms in already, and is you're saying that it's a neck and neck battle for the winning.
yeah, it's
It's a
absolutely
battle.
true. So I will declare
Yeah.
that I am more on the commentary side of things. I
Okay.
am I don't get involved in the back and forth. I will
But
say
but you
I
do
am not following it.
but you do make a vote when the time comes, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well,
Well, without
no
disclosing,
doubt about it,
without
because that's going to trigger
disclosing,
me.
without disclosing which side you're voting
Yeah,
for, it is fine. I would say to you that's fine, but it is important that you said that a while ago, because if you did not
yeah,
put yourself on the line to actually make a decision on a choice, then our conversation would be non and void. It was not necessary for it's for commentary, and so you could not be one who say I don't like this or like that. You could just commentate on the thing, but you shouldn't be saying whether or not this is what I like or dislike, because you didn't make a choice. So
I
for
will say
you,
to you, Mikey
yeah.
G, that I'm triggered by that triggers me, and I'll tell you why. I'm very passionate about the fact that my having the opportunity to exercise my franchise
Right.
was not an easy feat for those who came before. And so, there are times when I'm like, oh, but I haven't a clue what the policies are. And I'm not inspired, but it does not in any way, shape, or form take away from my immerse the intense gratitude that I feel that those individuals who were enslaved, who didn't have a right, who didn't have a vote, did something about it. And in some respects, it costs their lives. And so every time I go out there and vote, this is my conviction, right? Every
Yes.
time I go
Yes.
out there and vote, it is giving affirmation to the fact that they fight or their fight was not in vain, and I am in solidarity with what they did every time. So for me, it's more than just putting my finger in that ink. It speaks volumes to the fact that I do have a right, and that persons had to fight for me to have those rights. And so I don't take it lightly. I absolutely don't take it lightly. And I would encourage every
Everyone,
single
every
person
single
to
person.
participate where you are, to make sure it matters. It doesn't mean that that one vote is going to make the decision that you want, but it will certainly support in making the voice heard. Because the truth is, if you don't vote,
I'm happy. I'm
by
happy you said that, Coraleekaren, because just by making a statement, it's like I made a statement a while ago, and it might not be one that persons like me to say, and it might interfere with quite a few of the status quo. Some of these persons who think that I may be troublemaking and trying to mess with things that don't concern me, but it does concern me.
yep,
And so what I do when I say these things is register my self as being in this position of this matter and will not remain silent about it. Now, if you have a matter that you don't want to be silent on, then you should not be silent on it. And when you said that a while ago, I was impressed that you said that, because it's very important that we go out. It's not a matter of winning or losing, but about the point that you're going to make your voice heard on a matter, and this is what you're standing for, right? I would go even further to the election, and if there is a policy, mandates and stuff that you actually see and read a manifesto that you are looking at, and these are the policies or the things that is exciting you, I would go there in a little while. I'll come back to it, but I wanted to say this. I wanted to just register that before I forget. I don't want to forget it, so I said it first. I'm going to go to this part. When you talked about the rights of voting, I in the back in days when slavery was abolished and colonialism existed in the most prominent way, and black people were trying to vote, there was this particular man who was like running for the like a councillor for the area, or the person elected for that providence or that area, and he's a black man, and he's walking around getting black people to vote for civil liberties and rights and stuff, and he was run down by a bunch of guys was Caucasian, and they cut out various parts of him and hang him.
Yeah.
Hang him, kill him, right?
Because
and I saw that as a part of the history of persons. And when I listen to what's happening now, most persons want to erase that history, to say it's too violent, it's a bad history, it's something that we need not to do. And I'm listening to the conversation. I understand how that can be, but for me, it's really something that you cannot forget, and it should not be allowed to move. However,
exactly. And so every time you go out and you exercise that franchise,
yes,
it is saying his death was not in vain. And it says more than that. It says that I have a right, and I am exercising my right. I would even go as far as to say, if you feel passionate about it enough, be a part of the change by being a part of getting involved in, the policy making, the policy decisions. There's nothing wrong in being a part of it, because the truth is, you have to put your money where your mouth is. If you want change, then you have to be a part of it.
You have to be a part of the change.
And so I encourage people to be there. If you feel strongly about an issue and you believe that those persons who are elected are not saying it strong enough, why don't you put up yourself to be elected? Why don't you take a stance? So I don't subscribe to people just complaining.
Right.
You have to find a solution.
The
best way to find a solution to a problem is to take the lead.
Right.
In making the change that you want to see happen. And a lot of the civil rights leaders did exactly that.
Yes. They didn't just talk.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to sit down and be hiding behind the closed doors or be scoring from the authorities because they're hunting you down. The marches that took place, the people who campaigned internally and said we have to do something, and galvanize the people to go out there and make a stance. I'm an individual, and so just to say, I am going to vote.
As a Family Friday. It is Family Friday. I want to make this point as well, that when you think about the whole matter of civil rights and liberties, black people were not the only ones who suffered the consequences of that.
Yes.
There were white people, Caucasian people, as we want to say, Caucasian. I don't want to use the word white because it's really more pink than white in a lot of ways. But but whatever that is. But I'm saying Caucasian people would have been lots of persons who would have put their life on the line to ensure the freedoms that black people now experience. So we can't dismiss it and we can't disengage it. We have to see who's in the room with you, while you know that it is a very muddy part, but you cannot dismiss that part of the history. Many people would want to try to think black people did it all by themselves. Did not do no such thing. I watched the South Africa situation and some of the playbacks on that and some of the history on it, and saw in action many persons who lost their lives, who were not a part of the whole thing but get themselves involved in it. They were not disenfranchised in any way. They had all the privileges, but they put themselves as no privilege. You know,
Yeah.
it says, if you have the audacity to stand up for something, the only way you can do that is if you're prepared to die for what you believe.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're not prepared to die for what you believe, then shut your mouth and sit down.
Yeah. Totally agree with you 100%, Mikey G. So as the election fever continues, you see
Yes.
a lot of
Well, for you, I was going to come to policy. I was going to come to policy for you. If you're going to vote, do you look at the policies of what is being presented, and
what policy?
Or do you vote on the side of the green and the red and who making the most noise? Which one?
I vote only because I have the right to vote. The truth, that's the honesty of it, Michael. Because when I look at both, it's a 4-year term, and unfortunately, the election gimmicks and promises are not fulfilled one way or the other. And so my first priority is exercising that's the priority for me, because the truth is neither of them, they will say one thing and some will try and others will just go in for the purpose of being there. And again, it goes back to what I'm saying. If I feel passionate about it sufficiently, then I should get involved.
Yes.
But for me, the priority is going and making my voice heard.
Yeah, the piece that I would like to...
see policies. I honestly don't see policies because there are none. There's no difference in the policies, to be honest. I'm not going to sit down and read a 700-page manifesto. I am not.
Well, elections in the United States, I'm going to say something about a compound town, so if I forget, don't let me forget it. The elections in the United States basically was about actually policies.
It's more so.
Yeah, no, when I saw it, I said if Jamaica apply some of this knowledge to their politics, it might only the politicians actually serve the people more responsible for doing what they say they will do, because what you do, you would hold them responsible for what they say, and not just to vote for them because it's the color of the skin. Or like I said,
the color that they represent.
The color of the skin. Yeah. I mean, the green people and the red people, kind of thing like that. But if we choose policies, what happened if we look at the policies that caused the election to swing? The Kamala Harris campaign. What you thought? What do you think was the thing that killed her as being president of the United States? What policies do you think she put in place?
But then I'll maybe say, Michael, that a lot. So I know that there are some issues in terms of the freedom, the gay rights and so on and so forth. But the truth is, when I listen to some of the post-election conversations, if you're asking me what she did wrong.
No, not what she did wrong. Not what she did wrong. What are some of the policies that they were bringing? Not wrong. There's nothing wrong or right. I'm not going to go wrong or right. I'm saying, what are the policies that you think overturned her campaign, and people did not want to vote for those things? Did not want those things, or they just voted her out because of that?
Well, I know that the two platforms that she sort of articulated was the rights for those who are gay and abortion, and those were two of the strong points. But the truth of it is that I'm going to take back what I said. I don't think people voted along policy lines. I think people voted along gender lines in the US when I heard it. So yes, she had policies and they both had policies, but I don't think that was what predominantly.
But do you think that voting on the policy of, you mentioned the 2 points, main points that came up, voting on the policy of abortions and gay rights was a policy that people voted against, and not necessarily gender, in terms of people who voted?
But as I said, most of the commentaries that I hear afterwards were that they would never have a female president in the US and so they were like the better of the two evils.
I don't think that's what killed her. I think despite those rhetoric and people saying that they wouldn't have a female president, the part what really hurt her very badly was those two things that you talk about.
Well,
I think if she not adopted those two, should be the next president right now sitting. Not because she's a woman that she would not be elected. I don't think that's where it was. I think that a lot of men were actually going for it, and people in general would have done it.
Yeah, but then I mean, what did that? Well, let me ask it another way. How did that work out for America? How is that working out for the world?
No. Hold on. We're not talking about what's working out or not working out. Let's not look at. We're talking about elections. Let's look at what we are talking about here. What we are talking about is that people voted against policy line. All right. On the other side of the fence, what did people voted for? On the other side of the fence, to elect the president.
Well, for me, what my observation was, the making a better life. So he would have countered those two advances.
There are some things. Immigration reform. These are the things that they voted for.
Immigration.
They voted for it. They voted for more persons being deported. They voted for that. They voted for people being blocked from coming in from the border. They voted for that. Those are policies in place that were promised that this would happen.
I'm sorry, Michael. I would say to you that a lot of the votes from the Latinos, from the Hispanics.
Yes.
No, but hold on. But these are the mass.
Go ahead.
These are part of the mass.
Go ahead.
And a lot of those persons were voting because he promised a better life. That immediately on day one he was going to reduce prices. And so for me, again, I'm from the outside looking in. I believe that people voted for Donald Trump because of the promises that he made to give them a better life. And although there were other big ticket items, the mass people were hoping for exactly what he mentioned. He campaigned about the prices of things in the supermarket. But what's happening now?
Prices have risen up more than ever.
And so, unless I hear the granular part of it, is people voted for male or female, because in my opinion, the first term that he got was sufficient evidence that he would have done even worse given a second time, and that is bearing out now.
Well, so, there are many things that you could think about in terms of the now present sitting president, in terms of what he's doing, and we might disagree with a lot of the things that is happening, but this is what was voted for, and he's actually fulfilling his political mandate. Whether it be good or bad, whatever it is, but he's actually doing it.
He's doing what?
Fulfilling his political mandate. I mean, in terms of the prices going down, maybe that's one of it. Part of it that is not realistic at this time. But possibly, hold on. I'm saying is possibly losing out on that segment of it if you look at prices going up at this point. But then if you look at majority of it, if you look at most of what he's promised, he's actually doing exactly that to what he said. I mean, many persons did not expect that they would have been caught up in the net of what the promises were. Mind you, if that's the conversation we're having, many persons who are caught in the net right now thought that they were exempted from it, and so they would not be a part, or their family wouldn't be a part of it, and so they actually voted in that way. But you have to see where the promises are and that it is being made.
I'm sorry, Michael. If you're Hispanic, you're an immigrant.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
You're Latino, so you could not be voting to prevent other people from coming in. I would be disagreeing.
Let me ask you something. You lived in the Cayman Islands and for a while. How many persons do you think who are Jamaicans who prevent another Jamaican from getting status or become a citizen of the Cayman Islands? How many people you think? Don't answer it. don't answer, right? And so I don't want it. I will say to you that you will find that another Jamaican might be the very one who stop you from becoming. Not so much the Caymanian. Whether the Caymanian dislike this or dislike that or whatever, there's a Jamaican who got naturalized, and that Jamaican is one of your most brutal person who will be opposing you the most way if you're not careful. And it might be a bad thing to say in public, just like saying this, but while it is so true, maybe, hold on a little bit, maybe, but it is evident that this is my experience. It's a very troubling thing. So what I'm saying is, there are many persons who do not believe that they will be caught in the net with Donald Trump, President, say, in the whole thing that's going on, but they are mostly affected because they think that they weren't going to be, and now this is the situation. If they got a chance to vote again, maybe they wouldn't vote the same way, or maybe they would do the very same thing that they did. No, whatever that is, I'm saying voting on policies. And so the policy that killed the Kamala Harris was the abortion rights. That many persons, whether female or male, because remember, it wasn't just men who voted for Donald Trump, it was a whole heap of women too. You have to understand that it's not, right? And children, right? Youngsters. And so we have to see this going on. When you talk about voting rights for abortions and abortionists, and you know my position on that, I believe that abortion should not happen because this is what it is. Now, how this in context must operate is not the policy that I will discuss. But I believe that there are some necessary reasoning or reasons for medically induced abortions at some points for some medical reasons. So I'm not going to rule it out that it's not ever going to happen. But it must be that life and death situation for the woman who's carrying that child, and not because the wrong person impregnated you. Not that. Well, not about control. And so for that reason. On the other side of it is, when it came out to have the whole matter of the gay rights thing, I didn't have a problem with people having their rights to be gay and to do all the things that they're doing. And I didn't have no problem with that. The problem I had with it was the fact that you want me now to accept the craziness of you telling me that you're a woman and a man when you're really not. And the same principle of, I just talked about it a while ago, being a priest and not being a man and not being a woman. And in the mix up, I put all that in the same place. And that's how I feel about it. That's it. And that's it, right? So I want the people, if you're gay and all that, nothing is wrong with that. I'm not against you for being that. But if you want to tell me that my religious belief need to now be adjusted to accept it, then I'm having a problem at that point.
Yeah.
You see, so my problem is not that if somebody want to go and jump off a cliff, I might sympathize with you, but I am not having a problem with you. At least you're going to kill yourself. You're not going to kill me with you. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to leave it to that because that's your life. God give it to you, and the best you can do is jump off a cliff with it. Fine. I have no problem with you. But when tie a rope to me and jump off with me, I got a problem with you that time. And so that's the thing I'm talking about. So, you have to get me. You have to get what I'm saying,
Analogy is on point, Mikey G. But then here's the thing. The policy does not separate the two.
Yeah.
The policy actually have you attached, not just by a rope, but chained
to it.
The jumper.
That's what I'm saying. And that was the problem with the whole saga with the thing. And I think that's what people voted against. That chain that was attaching you to something that you are not a part of, but you must be a part of it. Yes.
The people who voted were not intelligent to what it really meant. If what I understood you to be saying is correct, that the people who are expats or the immigrants, when they were allowed to vote, they voted against themselves.
No.
They voted against themselves. What I mean is that they voted against a policy. Well, they voted for a policy that prevents persons from getting the same access that they got. So that's what I'm understanding. And so now that it is in place, they fully didn't understand the implication that
You had two choices. You had two choices. You had two choices.
Be deported or have to contend with abortion?
No, I marry a man. All right, so that's what it is. I mean, a man marrying a man. The choice was there.
What?
That's the choice. That's it. No, hold on. Your son married to, when your son come home, he bring home a young man. That's a choice you were having. Because the schools were not teaching this thing to your children.
Okay, but then the other, what you really voted for is that the opportunities that you saw, you no longer have them. So you're going back to where. So, I mean, which of the two evils would you prefer?
I'm only that's well, no, hold on. That's what I'm saying. So there is two evils that exist, not good and bad, and so people voted for the lesser evil of one, and so this is the reality of it, and so we are now facing that reality. Not just people in the United States, but people in the Caribbean, people in other states, other countries, and other parts of the world are actually feeling the impact of it, right? And so you must understand. And this has never been.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question, because outside of those two policies,
yes,
what is now in effect is that they voted for what would supposedly be cheaper or more efficient or cost-effective prices. And are we saying that tariffs is the way to go?
Well, like I said to you, let's look at I don't know what the outcome of this will be. For now, you see higher prices, and this is what sometimes it looks like when something starts to happen. Now, whether or not it's going to go down later on, I don't know. Or it goes up more, I don't know. But then I guess this is one thing that we'd have to see how it plays out. So far, we see that a lot of persons are hurting for different reasons, and a lot of persons are happy for the same reasons. So you have to understand that while one man is sad, another person is happy about what's happening, and vice versa.
But then the 80-20 rule is so much more in operation, because all those persons who have lost their jobs because the US, because of aid, because of whatever, they have lost their jobs. So for me, it's like, at what cost? Was it worth it for you to have decided that this was better than this evil was better?
But also remember that
the last point I would make is that I would say to you that I will repeat it, that a lot of people did not understand the magnitude of what they were voting for.
And usually, alright, and that is true. I would say to you that many persons who actually lost their jobs voted for this happening.
Yeah, well,
and, I
suppose.
Alright. Go ahead.
No. I mean, I'm fine. I suppose my last point would have been, I suppose they are reaping what they would have sown. So, the unfortunate thing,
I'm going to
the
Jamaica.
entire world is now.
I'm going to Jamaica right now. I'm saying to Jamaica, we are in election mode. Isn't it important then that we see what their people are saying on the political platforms, their manifestos, and the ideologies that they are bringing? I'm just saying that it is important to look at this instead of really voting on the premise that we are going to just change the one that is in now and put a different one because it's been too long. Instead of saying, you understand me? I am saying vote for something that makes sense. And I would like to see Jamaicans voting in this way coming in the near future. I hope the next generation of us will actually look at it from that perspective.
Listen, Michael, let me just do the analogy from my perspective.
Right.
We would have seen a mature first world country get it wrong. Get it wrong. So all that they were spewing about policy this and policy that, they get it wrong. Full stop. For us, we're not that mature. We are more tribal policies, and for those, what you have found, and this is again, my observation, because I'm not deep diving into no politics.
Yeah, just go. I mean, we just having a conversation because
So,
as it affects our families, all right? As it affects our
the
families.
observation I have made is that we have gotten smarter. So the current generation is far more intelligent than the tribal consideration. So they're more wanting to see what you can do. And because our political framework has not expanded to do that, you find that a lot of people are opting, the new generation are opting not to participate, not to get involved, to the magnitude that it's about policy.
Well, all right.
What you find is that you have the youth arm of the two parties, but what they're doing is going along with the same tribal wave, that they're taking on the same sort of approach that precedes them, as opposed to the intellect of it.
All right, you said earlier in the opening arguments that this generation is more intelligent than the last, but yet still they are participating in the same tribalistic behavior as the ones in the past.
No, I'm talking about the voters. The voters.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They're staying away from it.
Yeah.
That level of intelligence is not going to reap them anything. So their intelligence must say that they need to do something about looking at policies. So the intelligence that we say claim that more persons are more intelligent now, which I am not going to be beating against that. I would agree with you in so many ways because of where we are in technology and of course information and how much information we are now exposed to. More persons are more informed than we have ever been in any time in history. All right, and so we have to see that as a real time new age status that we have incurred on ourselves. But to say that we're not going to vote based on that, and knowing, if you know and your knowledge is what it is, then use wisdom now. Experience teacheth wisdom. So we want to say to young people, you are knowledgeable, but wisdom comes. Ask the old people them something. They might tell you a thing, you might get something right, just having the knowledge that you have. But wisdom needs to happen by experience. So I guess I don't want the young people to be 40 years of age and 50 and then didn't vote at all and say, you know what, we were smarter then but we didn't vote at all, which makes us dumber than the last year.
But then they're the ones who know you need to use their intelligence and go in and make the difference. That they want. Going back to the point,
that's what
you
I'm
want
saying.
to see a change, be a part of the change.
Be a part of the change.
And so the majority of persons who have amassed more information and
right.
Use it to make sense. Use it to make the change that you want. And don't just sit down and say, well, it's not important. Again, the intelligence should be sufficient for you to understand that you're here because somebody thought it necessary to fight for it. So don't
squander that. Don't squander it.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. I mean, but there are so many sides to the story.
Yes.
We just need to find it and appreciate it for what it is and just do what we need to do to make the change. Start by having conversations like this with your friends. Why is it that you're not voting? Can we have a conversation around the importance of voting? And if it's about policies, then can we get involved in the policy making process so that it can be reflective of what it is that you want to see? But then a lot of us are maybe. So
what I'm going to do, Lady Coraleekaren, you are going to be responsible for information for young people who are in this age group and giving them the necessary tools to use to actually make proper decisions as towards their betterment of their lives going forward in the 2025 general election coming up in Jamaica. Of course, it's time for news, and of course news time right here on Flashpoint. Thank you, Coraleekaren, for joining me this morning. I'm really appreciating it, but of course I know that you are a news anchor and you have been doing such a great job with the news, and we are just waiting for what you're going to be saying next. So let's hear what's coming up on the news next.
Yes.
Unless you want to give us a little peek on it before we get in there. I don't know why. But what kills me was the guys who actually got escaped and they caught all of them.
No, but hold on. So yes, they escaped, right? So that's one story. Here's an interesting twist to it, that there's actually a young lady who is now being sought because she was aiding and abetting. a fugitive. She was protecting a fugitive.
Aiding and abetting. Aiding and abetting.
Right. So she was. So now it's 9 people were escaped, but now you have 10 people who are now being a part of it because she's now included. She's going to now be considered for having
a person of interest.
Yes.
I thought that word one time we say you are a person of interest. It was something important that you are somebody who would be, interesting,
Yes. Don't want to use it at all. So, but it's Fabulous Friday, family. It's where we have conversations around the things that are happening and the impact it has on our families. So by all means, continue to stay with us, continue to stay tuned for the rest of the day. It's also Gospel Friday. And as we transition now to the news, just want to wish you all a continued God bless day, and remember that you are absolutely wonderful in God's eyes, and so own it and hone it as well.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4, Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
It's Friday, August 22nd, and you're tuned in to the Breakfast All News. Here are the stories making headlines this morning. I'm Coraleekaren. Government looks to reset balance with Caymanian Protection Act. The coalition government says it is moving forward with plans to restore the Caymanian Protection Act, a piece of legislation first introduced back in 1971. At a recent celebration marking 100 days in office, Minister for Caymanian Employment and Immigration, Michael Miles, announced that the act would return as part of major immigration reforms. Miles says the move is about protecting Caymanians and ensuring they have first access to opportunities in their own country. He pointed to the $35 to $40 million spent annually on tertiary education for young Caymanians, only for many to return home and struggle to find work. Quote, "We're not anti-expat," Miles said, "but we must reset the balance. Caymanians should not be left behind in their own country." The first phase of immigration reform is set to begin in October, with later stages to follow. Soaring food and healthcare costs challenge Cayman families. A new government survey shows that Cayman residents spent more than $3 billion collectively last year, with the average person spending just over $36,000. Housing remains the single largest expense, but the steepest increases were seen in groceries and healthcare costs. Families spent more than $300 million on food alone, nearly double the figure from 2015. Health spending has also more than doubled per person over the same period, driven by rising costs for outpatient care and medicines. The survey also highlighted growing insurance bills, shifting spending away from leisure, and widening gaps between higher and lower income households when it comes to basic essentials like food. Propane suppliers called for safety rules after gas explosions. Cayman's major propane suppliers are urging stricter safety regulations following two recent incidents: a home explosion in Bordentown that injured a woman and a Savannah yard fire caused by a faulty grill connection. Home Gas and Clean Gas say while propane is safe when handled properly, too many installations fall short of requirements. Both companies are lobbying for certified installer training, mandatory gas detectors, and stronger enforcements. Former MP and UCCI President Roy Bodden has also weighed in, warning against unsafe transportation of cylinders and poorly trained handlers. The Utility Regulation and Competition Office says rules are already in place and confirmed no breach investigations have been launched in the last 3 years. Hurricane Erin, a reminder of strong risks. Hurricane Erin, the first major storm of the Atlantic season, is churning off the U.S. East Coast as a powerful Category 5 hurricane. Though expected to remain hundreds of miles offshore, Erin is already triggering evacuations in North Carolina as dangerous surf and 20-foot waves approach the coast. Cayman's National Weather Service says the storm is a reminder that hurricanes don't need to make landfall to cause major impacts. Meteorologist Shamel Clark is urging residents to stay prepared as the season moves into its peak. Tourism Minister to review Miss Universe Cayman allegations. The Miss Universe Cayman Islands pageant is under review after an anonymous letter to government alleged bribery, bad behavior, and unfair treatment of contestants. Tourism Minister Gary Rotty has confirmed meetings with organizers. The concerns follow complaints by contestant Giona Miller, who has since apologized publicly but continues to allege unfair treatment, including body shaming and reduced visibility during the competition. Pageant organizers strongly deny the claims, insisting the event is fair, transparent, and focused on empowering Caymanian women. And regional news. In Trinidad and Tobago, CARICOM private sector organization warns the U.S. decision to raise tariffs on Trinidad and Tobago exports from 10 to 15% could cost the country nearly $292 million in annual revenue, hitting iron, steel, and chemical sectors hardest. In Barbados, at the Caribbean Broadcasting Union's conference, Information Minister Wilfred Abrahams called for stronger state support for the orange economy, including better media policies, fairer competition from tech giants, and protections for Caribbean intellectual property. In Grenada, following a safe and vibrant Spiceman's Spice Mass 2025, government leaders are highlighting Grenada's reputation as a safe spice of the Caribbean, stressing that safety remains one of the island's strongest tourism assets. And internationally, the Financial Action Task Force has published a new report warning of evolving terrorist financial risks. Trends include decentralized operations, the use of hybrid financial methods, and the exploitation of digital platforms such as crowdfunding and cryptocurrencies. Financial service providers are being urged to strengthen systems to detect suspicious activities and remain alert to red flags such as unusual transfers to high-risk jurisdictions and the misuse of and amenity tools. And those were your news headlines for this morning. Continue to stay tuned to the breakfast hour.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Cayman, are you ready? Flashpoint Media proudly presents Cayman's Got Talent, the ultimate showcase of our island's best voices, performers, and rising stars. From breathtaking vocals to inspiring performances, these local talents will leave you amazed. And it all builds up to the grand finale, the Point of Praise Gospel Extravaganza on Saturday, October 25, 2025. It's a night of powerful worship, soul-stirring music, and community spirit, with part proceeds going to Loud Silent Justice, supporting caregivers and families of individuals living with mental health challenges right here in the Cayman Islands. Cayman's Got Talent, more than just a competition, it's a celebration of faith, hope, and the incredible gifts within our community. Your calendars, invite your friends, and be part of the movement. For more details, follow Flashpoint Media on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and tune in at www.flashpointmedia.ky. Flashpoint Talent meets purpose.
First, I want to say welcome back to this morning's experience right here on Flashpoint. I want to thank Coraleekaren for the able way in which you present the news each week right here on Flashpoint. Of course, we had a lot of fun with you this morning. I trust and hope that the information that was presented was interesting enough. Yeah. And you find some amount of value in it. Yeah. We talked about elections. We talked about how we make choices. And choices are not sometimes things that lots of times we don't think about the choices so much. We just want to choose. But sometimes the consequences of those choices can be dangerous and long, far-reaching. But they says, when you make choices, you got to live with the consequences. So this is how it works. All right, so elections coming up in Jamaica as well, and we see where, persons are hyped up, and it's going to be an interesting campaign. People are doing their best to stay in their jobs. Well, for many parts of it, and I can't blame them to want to stay, but it's still the choice of the people to decide who stays and who goes. And so we're waiting for the election 2025 coming up to hear exactly what will be happening with that. Of course, we have a coalition government right here in the Grand Cayman Islands, and this coalition government is, again, we had one the last time, and that didn't turn out too well for a long part of the what you call the representation of this government, and it is returned. So let's see how much this coalition government will stay intact before somebody is being asked to step down and vote against, and tug and war starts again. Let's see what takes place. All right. But for the best part of it, it seems like we have a unified government so far, I would say, and they are putting in place policies for lots of immigration reform, especially for not disenfranchising young Caymanians who would have gotten $30,000-$40,000 to go to school to educate themselves and then come back home and have no jobs to come to. Then here's my problem with education. Let's not talk about my problem with education now, but I'm just saying. And here lies my problem with education, So we have been taught how to come work for somebody, but we are never taught how to create a business. I think we should look at it. And of course, if I have that argument, you must have workers in every business. So we can't say that everybody must be a business owner and no workers. And so this is where we are. But there are going to be people who are satisfied with working no matter what they are taught. And there are people who are not going to be satisfied with just being a worker. They want to create something new. So innovativeness and creativeness is where we need to be, and that's where I put the money on the table. I would put my investment on the table also in the skills area of the bit of the country, where you train craftsmen and women to be actual production workers, people who produce, not just persons who collect money for writing down stuff. Because you have to see where money comes from. Money comes from where you produce money to spend money. And so yes, we need executives, or we need people to go out and work money so the executives can be paid. But it's a little unfortunate that the executives are paid more than the people who actually do the hard work to make the money. And the people who work so hard are unable to actually benefit and take care of themselves and their families after working so hard, especially in the hot Cayman sun. And the executive sits in the air-conditioned air and make policies and decisions and disrespect them in the process. The ones who create the money don't get the benefit of using it. So we have to look at those things and see if we can be mindful of that as well. I want to also say thank you for joining me this morning. The information you find it here, was it helpful to you in any way, or you find it useful? Share, hit the like button, and of course, share this information with somebody else. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe now. You have some time. We are not closed yet. And of course, hit the notification bell. So every time one of these programs comes up, you get a chance to hear it first, right here on Flashpoint. All right. Of course, my name is I'm Mikey G, and of course, who joined me today was Coraleekaren. Of course, Lady Alice is off for the week, and of course the weekend. I think she's going to be doing a few things. Yeah, well deserved vacation time. So give her the props up, and of course we want to say big up to our director, Lady Elise, right here at Flashpoint. Of course, this evening, remember the open portal comes up at 6:30 in the PM, and don't be shy. Log on to Flashpoint at www.flashpointmedia.ky, or web radio continues all day today, all Gospel Friday. Of course, Proof also comes up today with the man himself, Brother Riley, who is the presenter on that program. And today is another day when proof will come what you believe as the people of God, as you navigate the 21st century right here in the world, in the Cayman Islands and the rest of the world. Having said that, guys, I thank you for joining me, or joining us, myself and Coraleekaren this morning, and I had a wonderful time with you. Of course, continue to enjoy Flashpoint today. As I said, our web radio continues, www.flashpointmedia.ky. Have a wonderful weekend. Of course, remember, the Sabbath experience with Flashpoint comes up right this evening. It starts at sunset this evening. So and goes all the way through till sunset on Saturday. So remember, stay with Flashpoint, stay tuned, and of course much more to come. Have yourself a God bless day. Ta-ta for now. Catch you later on Rebound.
I'm Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine. Your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coraleekaren, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, we'll all sing there outside. Just us in the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours Are we part of this circus? Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden.
Have yourself a Flashpoint day. Start your breakfast the Flashpoint way and cruise through lunch and then to dinner. With Flashpoint Radio. Flashpoint Radio is a class. Flashpoint Radio for gospel, inspiration, motivation, and meditation. Anywhere you go, take Flashpoint with you. Flashpoint Radio in a class.